Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about the Pico 4. So that's right, it's time to talk about the Pico freaking 4. This thing is a very exciting device and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should care about it and also some of the reasons why you shouldn't. So stick around and let's discuss everything about the Pico 4.
To start off with, let's talk about comfortability, as I think it's a huge factor in buying a VR headset. Now personally I found the Pico 4 quite comfortable. I have heard from others that they didn't, but maybe it's down to a head size thing, so for me, if you've got a big melon like me, you're probably going to be fine. Now I do think that the facial interface kit on this is a little bit stiff. It just really isn't that comfortable to use over a long period of time, so I do feel like that part will need to be changed, and hopefully there'll be some third-party accessories to fix that problem later down the line. The actual headset itself is an incredibly solid build. It looks beautiful and it just feels well built. Like, you know, when you're holding something and you know that you're holding something that is worth the money you paid for, that's how I feel about the Pico 4. Next up, we're going to talk about the IPD adjustment. This is one of the things that actually mesmerized me. This is so damn cool. So the IPD adjustment is actually motorized in this, so it moves completely independently of you having to move it yourself. So rather than having 3 settings like the Quest 2 does, or a little knob under it like other headsets have, this, you just do it all in the headset. You set it to what you want and bzz, it moves to the position that you've set it to. It's freaking amazing. While we're on that subject, let's jump into the lenses. So the lens design on the Pico 4 is a Pancake lens. This is my first experience of using Pancake lenses, and let me tell you, wow, I really freaking like them. Like, over the normal traditional Fresnel lens, which is what a Quest 2 uses, this makes a huge difference. There's like no God rays or anything like that. It just looks freaking phenomenal. The only thing that I personally found with the Pancake lenses I don't like is if you're in an incredibly dark scene, you can almost see a reflection back onto the lens of the image you're looking at, which can kind of be a little bit annoying, but honestly, after about 20 minutes, you kind of get used to it and you don't notice it anymore. Next up, let's talk about the controllers. Now, the controllers on the Pico 4 are actually freaking slick. These things are really, really well designed. I absolutely love the way they've moved the ring from the top to around the back of the wrist, because it really allows you to feel a lot more comfortable. I never clanked them, not even once, when I was in VR, which I think is a huge selling point for this style of controller, and I'd like to see more of it in the future. I'm kind of hoping that we're going to have a similar feel with the PSVR 2 from this, where you really just don't end up hitting your hands together ever. It's really, really well designed. The controller itself also feels really solid. The haptics in it are absolutely a 10 out of 10, far superior to the Quest 2 haptics. Instead of just feeling like a buzzy motor, they really feel like as good as like your mobile phone feels, where you can truly feel the differences in what you're doing. Next up, we talk about the sound. Well, the sound in this honestly isn't great. Unfortunately, it's only built-in sound on this headset, as there is no headphone jack. Really kind of a downside for me. This is like, honestly, the biggest mistake Pico made is removing a headphone jack. You should always have that there so that people have the option to use better headphones. The built-in audio isn't bad, but honestly I felt like the Quest 2 was better for audio that was built in, and that's kind of really saying something, because I don't think either solution is particularly fantastic. So for that, it really loses some points for me. You can connect a Bluetooth headset to it. I've tried both my Arctic 9s, which is a pair of like over-ear headphones, and I've also tried my earbuds, like the iPod ones, and honestly, both work, but there is a slight latency, and if you play a rhythm game, you can really tell the difference. So you're really just going to be kind of stuck with the built-in solution for this until something, maybe a third-party option, comes on down the line. Now let's talk about something awesome, gaming on the Pico 4. Well, I have some good and some bad to bring in on this point, but honestly, more good than bad. Currently, it has the same chipset as the Quest 2 anyway. The only real difference between the two is it has about 2 GB more RAM, which kind of just helps give you that little bit of overhead room in the games. And let me tell you, you can actually notice that difference in most games. Now, most games I played, I thought really genuinely looked pretty phenomenal. After the Fall, all of that sort of stuff just looked absolutely amazing. Red Matter looked amazing. The only one I really noticed a bit of a downgrade in was actually Blade and Source. So I kind of feel like that game was maybe just not optimized to the best, because it genuinely felt really downgraded compared to the Quest version. So I feel like there was a bit of a 50-50 split for me. Some games honestly were phenomenal to play on it, and some games I just felt like they had not been optimized to the same degree as others. So with this experience, I guess this will be something that will grow with the headset itself and get better over time, but in general, most games were pretty freaking phenomenal to play on this. Now, there was an FOV improve on this headset on paper. Personally, I did notice it a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's that much of a whacking great improvement. It's not like the difference of putting a Valve Index on opposed to a Quest 2. It's more of a it's nice that it's there kind of feature. Now, one of the most special things to me, at least, the color pass-through. This thing is, oh my god, so damn cool. It's going to be so hard to go back to that rubbishy looking, fuzzy, grey, black and white version that we get on the Quest 2. When you're on this, you have a full color pass-through, allowing you to pretty much do whatever you want. You can genuinely just see, like if I want to grab a drink, nice and easy. If I want to check my phone, nice and easy. This thing is absolutely phenomenal for that, and I really commend them for it, and I want to see this come back in a big way. This should be the new normal now, getting that color pass through, and I'm very excited to see other headsets follow on this trend. Now let's talk about PCVR. PCVR actually for this was kind of incredible. It is really kind of the same experience that you get with your Quest 2, so it's very much dependent on what PC you have and what router you have and how fast your internet is. For me, I have no issues with either of those things or any of those things, so I had a very, very good experience on this. I use virtual desktop for all my testing, as I feel like it's really kind of the best way to test anything like this, and I found it to be a very cool solution. Honestly, it's a very, very nice experience. I would say it's probably, if anything, just slightly better than the Quest 2, giving you slightly better visuals on things, and of course, most importantly, with the slightly better screens that are in the Pico 4 and the better lens design, it just in general felt a lot better anyway. Next up, we do a mic test.
This is me, Rhys, recording the microphone. How does it sound? You tell me. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
So let me know what you think. Do you think that's better or worse than the Quest 2? Obviously, a lot of these sorts of things are very subjective, so I'll let you make your own choice on that. Now, when it comes to software, I think this is really the sore point of anything on the Pico side of things. The Quest 2 is very established, been out for a long time, and they've had a long time to work on it. Like, if there's one thing you can definitely say the Quest does well for itself is software. They continually upgrade it, they continually make it better, and it's honestly a very solid platform at this point. Pico 4 is just that bit behind, and then now you can kind of tell that they're catching up. Give it 6 months and perhaps the software is going to be even better again. Right now it's definitely passable. If you picked this up and it was your first experience, you probably wouldn't know any better, but if you have used the Quest, you're going to notice a difference because everything is just that little bit better. For me, it's like the Quest is more like an iPhone usage and the Pico 4 is more like picking up an Android phone. Like, they have use cases for different people, but honestly, like, if you really want a solid, clean experience, you're going to go for the iPhone, and that's what I say is the Quest. It's the solid experience.
If you have any questions about the Pico specs, then click the video up here and it will take you straight to another video where I talk about all of the specs of this thing in detail. We're really focusing on the review aspect of this and what you actually care about knowing about buying this headset in this video.
Next up, let's talk about the price. The price of this thing is really the impressive part. It's coming in at £379.99 for British, €429 or $425. So this is really a fair price headset. I mean, it's kind of undercutting the Quest in a lot of places, so it's impressive, it's a good price, and I fully think this thing is worth the money you're going to be paying for it.
Now, there's probably going to be two questions that you have in your minds right now. One being, if I own a Quest 2, should I buy this? And the other, if I don't own VR, should I buy this? Well, there's going to be two very different answers to those questions. To start with, if you own a Quest 2, should you buy this? In short, no. You own a Quest 2, it's more than capable, it's going to do the same sorts of things. Now, yes, there are some things that the Pico does better in a lot of ways. Actually, there's quite a lot of things that the Pico does better. But right now, if you own a Quest 2, is it worth the upgrade? I don't think so. Hold on for a little while longer. We're going to have other VR headsets coming out along the way. And quite honestly, you're going to be running the same spec sort of games out of this thing. The only real advantages are some of the stuff that I've pointed out in the video. So unless you really want to, I do believe that the Quest 2 ecosystem is better at the moment. We have exclusive games over there, and of course we have things like the software being really freaking solid on the Quest. So if you have it, don't worry, you're not missing out. You don't need to upgrade. Now, that being said, if you are just about to get into virtual reality for your very first headset and you're in one of the countries that you maybe can't even get a Quest 2 in, then of course the Pico 4 is going to be a cracking experience for your first step into virtual reality. Now, I honestly think this thing has a very real place in the industry, and I do think that Pico is going to keep coming back stronger and stronger and stronger. If you look at the leap between Pico 3 and this Pico 4, it's substantial, and I mean like software substantial, I mean hardware substantial. It's like impressive in all directions. So I do think if you're getting your very first VR headset, this is not a bad one to pick up. Like, it's cheaper than the Quest 2, and of course, you know, this thing is kind of a beast. So I do think that it's worthy of you thinking about. The one thing that I would say is the exclusives and the software on the Quest 2 is better. So, you know, really I'm going to leave that down to you guys. It kind of comes down to personal preference at that point. Wow, that's been a lot of information to take in, and I hope I've done it in an entertaining and interesting way for you guys. If you have enjoyed this, then please do smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and share this with someone you know who's interested in knowing about the Pico 4, or if someone's like looking to get into virtual reality. I think this is quite a good way of doing it. Now, again, I didn't take the angle of comparing this to Quest 2 the entire way through this, because honestly, I just don't feel like that's what we need to be doing with this stuff. Like, I'm just excited because we finally have some competition, like some worthy competition, and Pico have honestly done a very, very good job with this headset. Although it has some shortcomings, but so does every VR headset. Nothing is perfect. We do not have the perfect headset right now, and the steps that we're taking into the future are the things that are going to eventually lead to that perfect VR headset. Hopefully it'll be a PSVR 2. Please. But honestly, we don't have the perfect VR headset now. A lot of it comes down to personal preference. Now, what I would say to you guys and gals watching this video is go watch some other reviewers as well. Really help make up your mind, because we all are taking this in from our own perspectives, our own likes and dislikes, and then maybe you'll be able to find out every little bit of information you need by watching a multitude of different videos around the same subject. So don't just take my word for it, take the word of the many, and then you can really make up your mind on what you want to spend your money on. At the end of the day, this is a lot of money. It's up to you how you want to spend it. I will catch you in the next video. Leave me some comments down below saying hello, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.